Hi, I'm Joe Spampinato, and I'd like to tell you about how my wife Patty and I learned about Central Baptist Church and how we came to join in 1968. It involved a church event focusing on racial justice and understanding, the black-white confrontation meetings. First, some background. In 1963, Patty and I had what was called in those days a mixed marriage. I was Catholic, she was Protestant. Since we were married in a Presbyterian church, I was officially excommunicated by the Catholic Church, which considered our marriage illicit. Despite this, we decided to maintain connections with both traditions, and most Sundays attended two services, one Catholic and one Protestant. The 1960s were a time of festering change and protest. Besides the Vietnam War, another major issue of the time was racial unrest and the resulting civil rights movement. Patty and I felt that this was one of the major issues of our time and pledged to get involved. We joined a group called the Radnor Fair Housing Committee, which was working to open housing opportunities for African Americans in the suburbs. At the time, both realtors and banks on the main line, in opposition to the new Civil Rights Act of 1964, conspired to prevent qualified blacks from purchasing homes on the main line. Patty and I had been successful straw purchasers of a house for a black couple in Westchester and worked hard to ensure opportunities for other black buyers. But unfortunately, we found that progress was effectively non-existent. We were particularly disappointed that the two mainline churches we were attending were conducting business as usual, seemingly unaware about or even hostile to the need for racial justice and change. Since these churches serve some mainline movers, shakers, and leaders who were in a real position to do something about the problem, we were becoming increasingly disaffected with Christianity as it was being practiced on the main line. I happened to mention this disappointment to one of my black co-workers who was involved in civil rights activities. He said that I should check out this neat church in Wayne where some interesting things were going on. He was talking about Central Baptist Church. Now, prior to the enactment of the Civil Rights Act, the nation had been shocked and dismayed by TV scenes and other reports of violence by citizens and lawmen against demonstrators and blacks in southern states. They led to a prevailing feeling that racism was mainly a southern problem that was going to be solved by the passage of the Civil Rights Law. Groups such as the Quakers, who have been working the issue for a long time, knew that this was not true, that the problem was enduring and nationwide, including right here in our own backyard on the main line. One of the approaches used by the Quakers to address our local racism was the sponsoring of moderated small group meetings of local whites and blacks in neutral environments such as churches. These so-called black-white confrontations were conducted in 6 weekly sessions in which participants sat down around a table and discussed their fears, hurts, concerns, and hopes. It was a unique opportunity for whites to hear for the very first time directly from their black neighbors about discriminations they encountered daily as a black person on the main line. Central Baptist Church was one of the few mainline churches to host these events. Patty and I attended several. It was our first real introduction to CBC, where for the first time in our experience, we heard strong words from the pulpit about racial injustice and racial discrimination. I was fortunate to attend the Sunday the Martin Luther King Fund was discussed and approved. We joined the following week. CBC's strong stances against bigotry and injustice of all sorts and openness to risk-taking are characteristics which have differentiated us from many other Christian churches. They are a major part of our communal ethic to this day. Let's give the church our full support.